Hi everyone, it's Gator Bill. Welcome back to week, I think 10 now, of being 100% full vegan. How much weight have I lost this week? Well, stay tuned to find out. Cue the intro. Well, welcome back. It's been a great week so far. It's going to be a little bit of a Wednesday weigh-in and walk. I'll tell you how much weight I lost here in a few minutes. Last week's been going pretty good. I just want to thank everybody who stopped by Pee Wee Tom's YouTube channel to check him out. I just still can't wrap my hand around being that young and having terminal cancer, and certainly there's people who are a lot younger than him that have it probably a lot worse. But I think that all in all, the struggle that we have going vegan or even losing significant amounts of weight, which I'm trying to do, it really helps put things in perspective. How much of a struggle is it really? And, while you're there in the moment, it's, Atlas shrugged. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that bad, but it certainly feels like that up front. But the struggle is really, really important because it kind of refines you as a person. So, losing weight and getting thinner is more than just about losing weight. We have a mindset that got us to the point of where we're at physically. And so we have to change that mindset in order to be able to lose the weight. So the struggle is really important. And I guess I would suggest to you that while the struggle may be hard, okay, and it seems like at points in time it just ain't worth it, that maybe we should give up, that we should instead maybe enjoy the struggle. Because if we're struggling at least a little bit while we're dieting, we're doing something beneficial. If you think of long distance runners, the first miles, couple miles, maybe even some guys 10 miles, I don't know, I've never run a day in my life. But at one point the run has to become a struggle just to be able to finish. And it's kind of in that struggle where they define themselves as a runner, and whether or not they're going to be able to finish. If you see like Arnold Schwarzenegger, big bulky guy, at least when he was younger, or some of these other well-defined muscle guys, while the weights look easy, it doesn't, bench pressing 200 pounds doesn't feel any less than 200 pounds, but they have the physical prowess to be able to bench it. And 200 pounds I know isn't that great, but it's, let's say you bench 200 pounds, right? So, but they have to struggle to be able to get there. So the struggle, for lack of a better idea, I guess, kind of makes it all worth it. But there's a lot of ways doing what I'm doing that I'm choosing not to struggle. And one is, how much weight I've actually lost. I don't know if you guys can hear splooshing or not, but we're by the one lake and there's some fish jumping, which is pretty cool. And brain fart, where was I at? I'll have to edit this part out, maybe. Ways I've chosen not to struggle, though, is mostly in the numbers. I know that I'm eating healthy. I mean, I'm not eating any cheese, dairy, eggs, milk, meat, pork, beef, fish, anything like that. So, that part of the battle is kind of easily won. And so, I could stress out about the numbers. how much weight am I losing week to week, which I've had some really great numbers here and there, but I'm not promising anything today. And, calorie counting and this, that, and the other. I guess about the most wild I get on it is maybe a little bit on the portion side of it. I do like to cook. Duh, you got this big. How did you not get whatever? Anyway. But I really do try and keep, portions, like a cup of berries actually being a cup of berries, not, 2.5, 3 cups. Although I think Dr. Greger would agree that you could eat 3.5 cups of berries and not really impact your health overall, and do it on a daily basis. You might even get tickled to death with it. But there are some, in terms of being vegan, some concerns, especially with some high oxalate type foods. But generally, I think for the vast majority of people out there, high oxalates aren't going to be a real problem, especially if the rest of the diet is already healthy. So I think it's, don't go, consuming 15 cups a day of high oxalate foods, but, keep it reasonable and also keep up with the other things that you need. In as much that bread, or man can't survive on bread alone, we as dieters and vegans can't live on one specific style or type of food alone. So you can't do this on all beans. I know there's a guy out there lost a bunch of weight on all potato diet, whatever. But, he's not getting the full nutritional spectrum that you would get by eating, legumes and split peas, chickpeas, all that stuff, berries, and having, kale, and all those different things that kind of make up the vegan or plant-based lifestyle. So it's a struggle here and there. I feel real good, though, this week. I've been actually out walking quite a bit more. I've walked every day for the last 5 days, and it's been multi-mile runs. Right? Runs. And, all right, sometimes I make myself laugh. But I've been out, doing multi-miles with my boy, Gator Bait Nate. And that's a little bit of struggle. Last night it was quite hot, and it's like, oh my. I think finishing off about the last quarter mile or so was just... But, like I was telling my boy, is, that at that point where you're struggling the most is when you're getting the most benefit out of what it is that you're doing. And I think that's true even for dieting, because when we're struggling to stay on task, to stay on purpose, we're also learning the discipline of being able to stay on task and continue on with a plant-based lifestyle, or, whatever your flavor of dieting choice is right now. And I think that's, frankly, really important, because outside of a few medical conditions that are out there, and I'm not a doctor at all, there really isn't a whole lot of reason for anybody in our size range to get this heavy. So to be able to get this heavy, you can see it's two sides of the coin. One, you have to be really dedicated to eat that extra 1,500, 2,000 calories in a day. But that's, just for comedic purposes only. Truth of the matter is, it's an undisciplined lifestyle. All those times where we have a choice to not eat steak or 2 steaks or extra potatoes or candy if that's your thing, ice cream, whatever, we just didn't do it, and so it's the undisciplined part of it. We didn't do it because we didn't have any discipline to it. At least that's how I feel about myself. You may feel differently, and you're free to do so, God forbid, but yeah, so I like kind of the discipline of it and the work, I made myself, geez, it might be a little Freudian slip there. I made my family a really nice dinner, really great beef in the freezer. I don't want to see it go to waste. We've already taken the animal's life, so don't get on me about that. If we're going to take an animal, we might as well use it. But it was one of my favorite kind of, it's a chuck roast. Done up, slow cooked, all that. And oh my gosh, the smells in the house was fantastic. Cutting it up and just, being a cook for the family, I just wanted to take some of, you lick your fingers or whatever. I made gravy. I wasn't able to taste any of the gravy to make sure that it was spot on. It was good because I'm a good cook. But, that kind of makes it almost doubly hard because I wouldn't say that this plant-based lifestyle is anyway kind of a starving diet. I never feel hungry or starving. I am finding out what it means to be hungry, which is kind of interesting. It's something that you tend to forget when you're a real large eater. You just eat and eat and eat. You never really feel hungry, but that's been changing, which is a good thing. But the struggle of making a meal that you really have enjoyed, and then not being able really to partake of it outside of smell it and serve it and all that kind of stuff, that's a bit of a struggle. I ended up having a couple of bowls of salad because the bowls I have are really small, and salad just isn't going to make that big of a difference. But it was a little struggle, nothing too bad, but with that struggle came a great sense of accomplishment, if I were to put it that way, because while I had the temptation to go ahead and have some of that beef and the potatoes and the carrots, all done up with the gravy, I didn't. And so, it's not to be understated, I think, if you're going through the same kind of situation where you're coming to these temptations and then able to walk away from it and continue doing what it is you're doing to live healthier and be healthier. And I think the discipline that we learn in that is invaluable, because later on when things slow down and the interest in a diet tends to wane, you'll have that discipline to keep going and making the right food choices. And if you happen to slip here or there, it's not a huge deal because you can come back to where you're at. I haven't slipped, and I'm quite proud of that, to be honest with you. But I'm also more committed now than I've ever been before to doing this kind of thing. So I guess, the long and short of it is you can kind of decide what you can let drive yourself crazy and what doesn't. And for me doing this, I'm just not going to follow all the numbers and all that other stuff and just knock my head against the wall. I'm already eating healthy as it is, and it'll all come off. So getting on to the weight loss, though, because this video is getting a little long, and we're going to be doing a trip here. If you see that little ridge in the back behind me, I'm going to walk up to the top of that, and you'll go with me. I've lost, I'm down to 374 pounds on the nose, which has never happened to me before. I'm a little suspect of that. Usually it's like 0.3, 0.5, some kind of point something. And 374 on the nose, so that's a 3-pound loss, 3.5 pounds, 3.2 ounces, I don't know, from last week to this week. That's good, I'd like to have been able to hit a little bit more, I guess. I'm just not that concerned about it. I am just really happy this week with being able to do some things as I'm dependent on to do without having a great deal of temptation, and also to be able to maintain what I've been doing without really any kind of problems. And that's important, when you're kind of the black sheep in it as a vegan and the rest of your family isn't. You have to be able to maintain and do it on your own without really affecting how others are living their life, and in a way really kind of leading by example in what you do. So that's it for the video. You can stay tuned for this walk that's going to be coming up right here. I'll give you a good pan around, and that's it. So thank you for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe down at the bottom, and we'll see you next time. So So you can see a little bit of the sunset right there. This is the lake I usually film by here recently anyway. You see, let me point you up here a little bit. If I can figure out how to pan this thing just right. Oops. You can see you got a little bit of storms moving in. It's always kind of fun. All right. So let's get on with our walk. This is where we're going. I don't know if you can make out that there's some people up there, but this is I don't know, probably maybe 80 feet up. So you can enjoy the music, and that'll be the end of the video.